Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. So here I have a great article for you guys from Fierce Wireless. I will leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So this is an older article. The reason I wanted to focus on Q2 of last year is because these are the exact numbers that Mike Sievert recently quoted being at or above for this second quarter that's coming up. So last year in the second quarter, T-Mobile added 723,000 subs in 2022 second quarter. And recently he was quoted saying that they will be at or above this number that you're seeing on screen. Now that's very important because it looks like there will be a drop off from the competitors. AT&T saying that they're going to grow a bit slower. And then it looks like Verizon is potentially taking a loss again, looking at, everyone else's growth. Cable is anticipated to grow. T-Mobile has already told us they're going to grow. And AT&T told us they're going to grow too, just a bit less. So now the question is, it's going to be, can T-Mobile continue to maintain this momentum? That's going to be a big question. A lot of people out there are waiting for T-Mobile's downfall. They can't wait for T-Mobile to have their downfall or their slowdown. They can't wait for it. But over the last several quarters, and even backtracking to the last decade, people have been saying it over and over and over again during the Un-carrier days. Hey, T-Mobile's momentum is going to run out. They gotta be humbled. And then they just continue growing and growing and growing and growing. And the same here again. After merger, a lot of people are waiting for T-Mobile to be humbled. They're waiting for T-Mobile to slow down in growth, and it hasn't happened. Yeah, they've had some, I guess you could say they had some slower growth versus what they used to do, but they are still leading the pack when it comes to overall growth. They've had some slowdown during the when Sprint was at its peak churn, but that was fully anticipated. So nobody really panicked in that sense. T-Mobile told them, like, hey, once we have this under control, we would be back to being the growth leader in the industry. And that is exactly what's taking place. So it's going to be interesting to see how T-Mobile will be humbled. Is it going to be cable? I think cable will slow them down just a tad bit. But if they feel enough pressure, I think they will respond competitively. Like they say, they have the balance sheet to defend their position. So if they needed to drop pricing, get a bit more aggressive on free lines, do some more insider discounts, I think they will do that even more aggressive if they need to. They could include that into the marketing. Hey, get your third and fourth line free. They could do that in national marketing. They haven't done that. I haven't seen that. Usually when they offer the free lines, it's usually just like an in-store thing. And then you kind of just randomly walk into the store, try to close a deal, and then they tell you, hey, here's a SIM card. And you're like, what's this for? Well, this line is free. You don't have to pay for it. And that's what T-Mobile is hoping at that point, that lowers churn, that stops the customer from calling in for a retention offer because they're already getting the best deal. But it's going to be interesting to see who's going to humble T-Mobile and how aggressive does the competition need to get to slow T-Mobile down. That's what it's going to depend on. It's going to depend on the competition to slow T-Mobile down. And the fact that some of these regional carriers are coming out, like Red Zone in Maine, and they're saying T-Mobile is going to hit us like a freight train, that doesn't help the case. That just shows you that the competition is really not ready for T-Mobile. Even the local carriers will have a hard time combating T-Mobile. Once they come in, it shows you the fact that even the regional carriers, and that's just one, I'm sure there's others that haven't spoken out publicly, but the fact that company speaks out publicly and says, hey, T-Mobile's going to hit us like a freight train, they're going to come after us and take our base and our customers, that should show you that the competition is aware of T-Mobile and that they're looking at them as a big threat. Verizon and AT&T have yet to publicly speak on T-Mobile like that, and I don't think they will, but they can see it too. They can see it in the numbers, like, hey, T-Mobile's taking share from us. We see it in the port ratios, but yet we don't want to lower our prices, or yet we don't want to make this move, or yet we don't want to be fully innovative. They will have to be competitive and I think more competitive than T-Mobile even, to slow them down. If that does not happen, I see T-Mobile continue growing throughout this entire decade. And that means the base, growing the consumer base, enterprise and business, new partnerships, and the network. As T-Mobile continues growing share in these smaller markets, rural areas, they will be forced to pour more capital into these areas to grow the network because the base calls for it. If they don't grow any share and they remain at 0 or 1, 2%, they're not going to care to. But if they grow to 5, 10, 15%, they're going to want to invest more because they can see the success. And it's the same in all the other markets, even the urban markets. Where T-Mobile has high share, they invest more. Where they have low share, they invest less. It's very simple. But for now, we are anticipating T-Mobile to have the biggest growth in the industry amongst the mobile network operators. Again, there's a possibility that cable does outgrow them on the postpaid side. But amongst their competition, they are fully expected to be the growth leader in the second quarter and likely for the rest of this year. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. Again, it's still, we understand that T-Mobile still has some catching up to do on overall coverage. But the fact that these new stores are opening lets me know that they've taken advantage of the Sprint keep sites in these areas fairly quickly. And they're going after those markets and they're attacking. Now, there are going to be areas where Sprint didn't exist and T-Mobile doesn't exist. So those are the areas that T-Mobile has to smartly develop. They have to bring sites. They got to get permit approvals. Of course, they got to invest smartly. They got to seek a fiber provider. If there's no fiber, they got to figure out, okay, how do we approach this? Can we do microwave backhaul? Can we do, something else? They got to figure it out, right? Can they do satellite stuff? It's a possibility. But if it's not super rural, and if AT&T and Verizon have fiber already on that site from a third party, then T-Mobile likely is able to get fiber as well if they choose to, if they want to pay that. But again, it's all up to T-Mobile how far they want to take it at this point. Nobody's slowing them down. Nobody's really competing against them. So it's T-Mobile's for the taking. And I'm not talking about they're creating a monopoly or anything like that. It would be good to see T-Mobile at the top for a change. Verizon's been at the top for a long time. AT&T's kind of fell off. It would be good to see T-Mobile at the top and then Verizon having to become competitive again to try to chase them. And that's how we keep pricing as low as possible, although it's probably set to increase as we get better networks. But regardless, it makes everyone compete, keeps everyone on their toes. It brings new innovation, new ideas, and that's what we need. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.